guys made the government in Kabul, right? That is what you were celebrating. That is why Imran Khan, US forces to be in Afghanistan and perpetuate their stay in Afghanistan, you took $35 billion from the Americans. But will Anwarul Haq Kakar say anything against the Chinese? Chinese are not a democracy. Xi Jinping will just switch off the tap. Jai Hind friends, I'm Major Gauravari and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Now in the recently concluded Margala dialogues in Islamabad, the caretaker Prime Minister of Pakistan, Anwarul Haq Kakar, made a few comments that did not go down well with me, with a lot of Indians, and I think that was the basic intent, because to think that the Pakistani Prime Minister would say something and it would make an impact geopolitically or to the world, I don't think so. And I think that Prime Minister Kakar was probably reading from a Chinese script which was translated from Mandarin to Urdu to English. That's about it. And I'm going to go through each and every point that he mentioned, the broad points actually, and then I'm going to discuss and tell you what I think about what the Pakistani Prime Minister said. Wear your seatbelts. This is going to be very interesting. So my friends, he said, first of all, he said that creation of organizations like Quad and Quad Plus, the prime target of Indo-Pacific strategy is not Pakistan in itself, but a rising China and the so-called containment of China. India was flirting with the West in a bizarre attempt to contain China. India, in my opinion, is flirting with the Western Hemisphere, offering to be the lead player with its huge population base who can play a lead role to contain the Chinese rise. So, this is the first thing that he said, which I find very, very strange for the Pakistani Prime Minister to say so. It is not about containing China's rise. That might be the American point of view. That's certainly not the Indian point of view. We have been fighting with China for a very long time. I think the Pakistani Prime Minister forgets that we had a full-fledged war with China in 1962. We had a localized war or a huge skirmish with China on the borders in 1967 in Nathula. And we've been having problems with the Chinese ever since. It's been more than 60 years. So why should the Pakistani Prime Minister think that this is very recent and because of Quad Plus? And if America wants to contain the rise of China, I mean, why not? I think the world should contain the rise of China. I think China is a negative force. I think China needs to be contained. And the Pakistani Prime Minister should be absolutely very clear, because here he is criticizing the West. Here he is trying to sit in the lap of China. I would request the Pakistani Prime Minister to refuse IMF money that Pakistan is going to receive. I mean, they've received approval. They've not received the money. They've received approval for something like $700-800 million US as loans from IMF. Because what is IMF? IMF is the West. IMF is not China. It's not any other country. It is the West. And it is led by the Americans. So, you know, this is typical Pakistani hypocrisy. They say something, they mean the other. On one hand, they abuse the West, and on the other hand, they take money from the West. And I'll tell you why the Pakistani Prime Minister is doing it, why Mr. Anwarul Haq Kakar is doing this. He is doing this simply because, you know, the Chinese, he couldn't have done it for the Chinese. He couldn't have spoken against the Chinese, because if you speak against the Chinese, they'll not give you money. But in the West, there is this freedom of expression. Oh, we are a democracy, we are a liberal society, people can say what they want. And the Pakistanis, you know, they're cunning. Not intelligent, but cunning. There is a difference. And Pakistanis are cunning. So they use the constitution of these countries, including the United States of America, including UK and rest of the countries of Europe. They use the freedom of expression to tell them that, hey, we are criticizing you and we are a democracy and so are you. Which Pakistan is not, by the way, but that is the narrative that Pakistan is trying to build here. And saying that this is healthy criticism and that's all right. And they know that the Western countries will not take action against Pakistan. But will Anwarul Haq Kakar say anything against the Chinese? Chinese are not a democracy. Xi Jinping will just switch off the tap. Just switch off the tap. And Pakistan will find itself high and dry. So this is so much for his first point. The second point is, there is no incentive in creating conflicts, and Pakistan do not incentivize conflicts. But he says India encourages conflicts because this is where it would benefit by attracting tech transfer, the investments and other engagements with the Western Hemisphere. So I don't know what he's talking about. Which conflict has India incentivized or initiated? Which one? As far as tech transfer is concerned, yes. We have the ability to absorb that tech, and when we say tech transfer, Is America doing us a favor? No, we're giving America money. And I would like to tell the Pakistanis that you give America money and you take the tech. Nobody's refused. You see, this world is a market. And if you have deep pockets and if you have thick checkbooks, you can get anything that you want. So I think Pakistan should also try it. Why doesn't Pakistan give an order of 31 drones to General Atomics? Talk to the US government, say that we want to buy it for $3 billion, they'll give you a tech transfer. Or say that we want to buy 100 drones, $10 billion US dollars, tech transfer, end of story. Will you do it? You will not. So this whole thing about tech transfer and India wants to incentivize conflict, no. It is Pakistan that has worked like a mercenary state. It is Pakistan who joined hands with the Americans. So between 1979 and 1989, you see, it was the Pakistanis who accepted money from the Americans, from the CIA. And they set fire to Afghanistan. Then again, after 9/11, the war on terror, they accepted billions and billions of dollars from the Americans. They literally created the Taliban. They armed people. They weaponized their madrasas. They weaponized the mosques of Pakistan. It was Pakistan who sent their armies to murder Palestinians in Jordan. Brigadier Ziaul Haq, later on President and Chief of Pakistan Army, he was there as a brigadier. You know, it was the Pakistanis who sent their forces to Saudi Arabia. It is a Pakistani former army chief who's now head of the Saudi Arabian forces, that coalition of Muslim countries. It is General Rahil Sharif. There is no Indian general who's taken up part-time employment heading forces anywhere else in the world. So, for the Pakistanis to say that, hey, you know, India is incentivizing conflict, I think this is bogus. This is bogus. This is something that, this is a script he's reading which has been given to him by the Chinese. He says that there is no competition between the USA and China. If there is no competition between the USA and China, why else would the Indian Union get preferential treatment? So his contention is, or his narrative here is that India gets preferential treatment from the US because there is a conflict between US and China. I think that's a very narrow way of looking at it, but I don't expect intellectual rigor from any Pakistani Prime Minister. They're not the brightest bulbs in the box. And ladies and gentlemen, if you look at it, you see, it is not just that US has a problem with China. As I mentioned earlier, we have fought wars with China. You don't need to incentivize India to protect its own territory. We would have done it with or without the Americans. In fact, are there American troops along the line of actual control? Absolutely not. Not one single guy. Any NATO troops along the line of actual control? No, not one single guy. We're doing it all alone. So this entire thing that if India, you know, India is, he's saying that why would Indian Union get preferential treatment? We get preferential treatment because we are big, we are large, we are rich. And we have people who are respected all over the world. Satya Nadella. You see, we have people like Satya Nadella, we have people like Indra Nooyi. Okay? We have so many people from Google to Microsoft to Adobe to, I forget the names. Yeah. That is why we are respected. Name one Pakistani who is respected. One Pakistani who is globally respected. Just one. Globally respected. Just one. I know all the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf supporters will be saying Imran Khan. No. Imran Khan is not globally respected. He is respected by the PTI people. He's not globally respected. Name one Pakistani. I'm not saying one Pakistani politician. No, I'm not talking about a politician. I'm saying just name one living Pakistani who is globally respected. Just one. Name one guy. You know, who would be respected in Finland, who would be respected in Germany, who would be respected in Africa. You know, whom people will get up to receive. Heads of state would get up and receive him. Name one Pakistani. Just one. Now you know why India gets quote-unquote preferential treatment. Because we've earned it. And it's not just from the United States of America. Indians will get preferential treatment everywhere. Prime Minister Modi made a couple of phone calls and the Russia-Ukraine war stopped for 5 hours so that our students could live in peace. And your students, Pakistani students, waved the Indian flag, they said Bharat Mata Ki Jai, and they were also let off. Because they spoke like Indians, they looked like Indians, so people said you can also go. This is what I want to tell Anwarul Haq Kakad. If you think that the world is giving us preference, we've earned it. We've earned it. We have our place. About Israel, he says there is no parallel in the medieval world of such barbaric and horrific acts which are being committed by the state of Israel against the unarmed citizenry of Palestine. Vulnerable people in hospital, injured, and children are being eliminated. How many Palestinian children have to be killed to appease and address Israeli anger? Now, all this is nonsense. This is typical Pakistani ISPR narrative building. But forget about it. Forget about it. What is Pakistan doing to help? Islam's only nuclear power state. Among the 57 Muslim countries in the world, Pakistan is the only one with atomic weapons. I want to ask Mr. Kakad, how have your atomic weapons helped you? Have they helped you in Kashmir? Have they helped you in Palestine? Have they helped you when people were making cartoons and cutouts of Prophet Muhammad? Have these weapons helped you when people were burning and stamping upon the Quran in Denmark, in Sweden, etc., in other countries? Have these nuclear weapons prevented you from being on the brink of bankruptcy? Have these nuclear weapons helped you when your former prime minister's trousers were taken off by American immigration officers? Literally, he took off his trousers because they suspected the Pakistani prime minister of being a terrorist. Please tell me, how have your nuclear weapons helped you? They haven't helped you. Would you like to help the Palestinians with your nuclear weapons? Because clearly, your heart is bleeding for the Palestinians. But my question to you is, what have you done for the Palestinians? Nothing, except for empty words. That is exactly what Pakistan is, ladies and gentlemen. A huge paragraph of empty words, empty promises, just stuff out there. They just speak, that's all. And I don't know why Pakistani leaders have this habit of talking so much. Imran Khan would give interviews every day. Why should Imran Khan talk so much? Why should Nawaz Sharif talk so much? I don't know. All these leaders, they don't do any work. They don't work. They just talk. I think it's something to do with the water of Lahore. I don't know. But they talk a lot. They do very little. And of course, making excuses for Hamas in his speech. In the Margala dialogues, he made excuses for Hamas. And he says that there should be a Palestinian state primarily responsible to take up any challenges coming up from the Palestinian population. If you do not have a viable state, non-state actors would be there on its own, and they would take all those narratives and champion the cause of the people and respond according to the best of their judgment, which at times wouldn't be in the best interest of the region or the people living on either sides. Typical Pakistani. He's playing both the sides. He's not criticizing Hamas, but he's saying that, while Hamas will do things which are not palatable, but at the same time, why? This is typical Pakistani. Never take a straight line. Never take always be hypocritical. Always be fork-tongued. Always double speak. Typical Pakistani. No surprises there. Considers the issue of Kashmir as the main impediment to connectivity in South Asia. Connectivity in South Asia? What does Kashmir got to do with connectivity in South Asia? I have not understood. We don't want to connect with Pakistan. No Indian politician or no Indian minister or the prime minister or the foreign minister has said that we want anything to do with Pakistan. Why do you keep on harping about Kashmir? Have you seen any Indian politician talking about Kashmir except for the fact that we have to take back POK and Gilgit-Baltistan? We don't care. I don't know why Pakistanis have to repeat themselves every 3 days on Kashmir. And he's saying UN resolutions promised to look into the aspirations of the Kashmiris. Yes, it did. They said there should be a plebiscite. But I don't know how educated the Pakistani Prime Minister is. Or if he's Lahore educated. Because if you actually want to look at what the UN resolution says on Kashmir, the first condition is to move out Pakistani troops from POK and Gilgit-Baltistan. That is the first condition of the UN resolutions. Why don't you do it, Mr. Kakad? I encourage you, please move out all Pakistani troops, all of them, from, Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which you called Azad Kashmir, and also Gilgit-Baltistan. Once you do that, it will force India's hand. Because suddenly, the world will say, okay, Pakistan has completed step 1, now India, step 2. Why don't you do it? But you will not do it. You will not do it. Tell your army to leave POK. Tell your army to leave Gilgit-Baltistan. and educate Pakistanis, because all of them are so illiterate and uneducated. Translate it into Punjabi, Urdu, or whichever language you feel comfortable in. Translate those UN resolutions and educate your people that why is India not doing step 2 of the UN resolution? There are 3 steps. India has to do step 2. Pakistan has to do step 1. How can you do step 2 without doing step 1? It's been 76 years or 75 years at least, and you have not been able to do step 1. Please do step 1. Remove your forces. That is the primary requirement. On Afghanistan, defended the policy of repatriating illegal Afghan immigrants, saying that issues would start to settle the day Kabul would have a legitimate government. Talks about governance challenges in Afghanistan and how settlement of recent transformation is pivotal for Pakistan as much as it is for the connectivity with Central Asia. Why connectivity? Why would Pakistan want connectivity with Central Asia? You don't produce anything. You don't sell anything. You don't buy anything. You have no money. What do you want with connectivity? I mean, you just want to drive to Tashkent, is it? And once you get to Tashkent, what are you going to do? I'm asking you, Pakistanis, I'm asking you. This is a question to you. What will you do with connectivity? These are big words. Connectivity with Central Asia. We don't want to use Pakistan for connectivity. We have our own connectivity. We have a port in Iran. It's called Chabahar, and we are connected. We have a base. We have a military base in Central Asia. What connectivity do you want, or what connectivity? This whole connectivity to Central Asia. Who's it going to help? The Americans are no longer there. The Indians don't want it. Who else is there? Please tell me. Educate me. Educate me strategically. Who would want to use Pakistan to get to Central Asia? Indians don't want to, because we already have a base in Iran, and from Iran we can get to Central Asia. We have a decent relationship with the Taliban government. We have Indians working there. Again, they've started. So, and you're saying that it should have a legitimate government. 1 year back, Imran Khan was saying that the people of Afghanistan are now truly free and the Americans have left and they are our Muslim brothers and they will help us and they will love us and they will get Kashmir for us. What happened to all of that? You were the people who were telling the world that recognize the Taliban, do trade with Taliban, send your ambassadors. It was the Pakistanis who were marketing it to the rest of the world, saying that do it, come on, do it, otherwise there'll be a problem. And now you are saying that the government there is not legitimate. Imran Khan was saying that it's the best government in the world. You guys said that we have formed the government, right? Sirajuddin Haqqani is your guy. You guys made the government in Kabul, right? That is what you were celebrating. That is why Imran Khan came on national media and said, he spoke about Zehni Azadi, the freedom of the heart and the mind. He said that the American occupiers have left. He said Afghanistan has, you guys are so funny. You guys, Pakistanis are so funny. You actually congratulated Afghans for getting independence from the Americans, and at the same time, for the US forces to be in Afghanistan and perpetuate their stay in Afghanistan, you took $35 billion from the Americans. Running with the hare and hunting with the hounds. You should learn it from the Pakistanis, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And then he says people are very much interested in the radical views of Al-Qaeda, Daesh and other radical Islamic entities. But how do they choose to ignore the politics of Hindutva, which is primarily different from the religion of Hinduism? The idea of Hindutva pronounces itself and targets specifically 2 major monotheist religions, that is Islam and Christianity. No, Hindutva has never targeted anybody. Let me tell you, Islam and Christianity have targeted each other. You remember the first Crusades? You remember the second Crusades? Mr. Kakad, have you forgotten Salahuddin Ayyubi? Who was Salahuddin Ayyubi fighting against? Have you forgotten Richard the Lionheart? Who was he fighting against? Muslims and Christians have been fighting each other for over 1400 years. This whole theory of clash of civilizations, it's between whom? What is it about? And you say Hindutva. I would like to ask you, what is wrong with Hindutva? You have 57 Muslim countries in the world and your desire is to, convert the entire world to Islam. That is what you want. You want everybody to read the Kalma, everybody to become a Muslim. Let us say India. India is a secular country. It has a secular constitution. But hypothetically speaking, and my question is academic, if India says that we want to become a Hindu country, if we want to embrace Hindutva, what is wrong with it? I'm just asking you. And this is an academic question. What's wrong with it? And you should be the last person on earth, or any Pakistani should be the last person on earth. You are the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. We have had service chiefs from the minority communities. Service chiefs, Army, Navy, Air Force. We have had Muslim chiefs. We have had Sikh chiefs. We have had Parsi chiefs. We have had Christian chiefs. Please name one guy from a minority community in Pakistan who has risen to any level in your armed forces. We have people from the minority community who have become the prime ministers of the country, from presidents of the country. You know? Everybody. You know why this is possible in India? And do you know why India is a secular country? Why India is a democracy? India is a democracy because it is 85% Hindu. India is secular because it is 85% Hindu. Please name one Muslim country in the world out of 57 that is a truly secular and democratic country. Turkey does not qualify. It has had military coups in the past. Pakistan certainly does not qualify. Pakistan is a basket case, right? You've had 4 military coups. Bangladesh has had military coups. Please name one country in the world, Islamic country, out of 57, that is a democracy that has not had martial law or a strong man coming on top, military or otherwise, and ruling, and has smashed democratic institutions. Your hatred towards Hindus is ill-founded simply because India remains the world's largest democracy because it is 87% Hindu. And as long as Hindus are in a majority in this country, it is the absolute guarantor of India being a democracy and India being a secular society. And then Ghar Wapsi and all that, from the European capitals to all the important American capitals. The wings of the RSS on the Western Hemisphere are just like sleeper cells. Okay, so, all right. I don't even know how to respond to this. I should have listened to my team. My team was saying that, sir, don't respond to this nonsense. This man doesn't know. My research person came up to me and he said that, sir, this man is talking nonsense. Why are we doing a video? I said, no, somebody must respond to him. And he said, let that be somebody else. Why you? But I ignored his advice and I'm doing this. And I don't know why, because this is stupidity. All I want to say to the Pakistanis is, please declare an education emergency in your country. I just want to ask you, can you name one Pakistani who is globally respected? Please name one guy. One living Pakistani who is globally respected. And please don't say Imran Khan. Please, it's a request. Don't say Imran Khan. He's respected in your mind only. Right? It's only in your mind. Please name one Pakistani. You have a population 250 million. Name one Pakistani who is universally respected. Just one guy. I bet you, name one Pakistani, living Pakistani, who is universally respected. Here's a challenge. Do it. Write in the comment section. And then he says there are around 3,000 plus words of Uzbek language in Urdu. I do not see that kind of an amalgamation with Sanskrit or any other, probably South Indian languages. Most of the South Indian languages, the root words are all Sanskrit. And even Urdu, you're saying Uzbek, who cares about Uzbek? Urdu is an Indian creation. Urdu was born in Lucknow, it was born in Delhi. It is not a Pakistani Punjabi concoction. Mr. Kakad, your national language may be Urdu, but your mother tongue is not Urdu. Nawaz Sharif's mother tongue is not Urdu. Imran Khan's mother tongue is not Urdu. It's only the Urdu-speaking Muhajirs who went whose mother tongue was Urdu. Otherwise, in Pakistan, if you see Pakistani Punjabi speaking Urdu, it's the murder of a language. You guys don't know how to speak Urdu. It's a beautiful language, but you guys have murdered Urdu. I mean, you're talking about Urdu, you should not be speaking about Urdu. You guys, I have not heard a Pakistani who has a clear diction, Urdu diction. I have not seen one guy. Most of them, when you hear a Pakistani speaking Urdu, it's like he's speaking Punjabi. My request is, please spare the language. It's a beautiful language, please spare it. Your television anchors regularly murder this language. I'm talking about Urdu. Regularly murder Urdu on national television. And you have such hatred for your own languages. I've seen the debates in your Punjab assembly. The debates in your Punjab assembly are in Urdu. The debates in the Balochistan assembly are in Urdu. The debates in the Sindh Assembly are in Urdu. The debates in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa are in Urdu. What about the local languages? Apparently, millions of Pakistani children will now learn the Chinese language. Millions of children will learn the Chinese language in Pakistan, which is okay, which is fine. But why don't those millions of children actually learn Baloch or learn Pashtun, or the Pashtun people learn Punjabi? You don't respect your own language. You're talking about Sanskrit. Sanskrit predates Islam by 3,000 years or more. What are you talking about? So, I end this video today with an appeal to all the Pakistani people that please declare an education emergency in your country. It's really shameful when your Prime Minister speaks like this. Betrays a serious lack of thinking, grey matter, intellectual rigor, and education. Thank you very much for watching this video. And I would like you to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. And Mr. Kakad, I think you also need to subscribe because I think you need to get educated very fast. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.